it has certainly been a hot minute. Almost 3 months. I think the last video I did was for June, so it would have been early July was my last video. But here I am. Welcome to basically July through September update pickups. All things game related. But I guess what's been holding me away for a while was the fact I got distracted by rediscovering other hobbies. Not just, still video game related in a sense, but a lot of other things. I actually recently picked up the new Gundam card game that released back in September, and I've been playing at tournaments every Saturday and Sundays as much as I can. Even have gone to other states and cities and actually played in some store tournaments. I've never really won any of them, but I'm still having fun, and that's kind of what the point of this whole thing was. I haven't actually played a card game since, well, way back in college days. I played Magic the Gathering, and that was when the Kamigawa series came out. And every once in a while, I'll still pick up some Magic cards, but mostly for the purpose of collecting and not necessarily playing. So this is the first one I've actually gotten into, and I'm really having fun with it. But it's also made me rediscover Gunpla, or the what people refer to building model kits of the various Gundams and robots throughout the different Gundam series. And beginning into that, especially with the card game, has come out with these little mini assemble figures, which are minifigures that are planned to be used in a sort of tabletop game coming out next year called Gundam Assemble. And they're basic miniatures, just like 40K or Dungeons and Dragons, or you can actually paint the figurines. And I've done a couple of them. I've only got 2 sets, and it's been fun. And that's kind of what started me back down to grabbing this Gundam kit. I got the one from Witch of Mercury, the aerial rebuild, which I thought looked really cool. And that was the only purpose for picking it up. And I did end up putting it together. It took me roughly 2 hours. I actually live streamed both nights of me putting it together. It took roughly five and a half hours to fully build it. And I had a good time. It was very relaxing. It kind of got me out of playing video games, even though my backlog is absolutely killing me right now. But I worked with that, and I had fun. So that kind of kept me away from actually buying video games. I didn't go to any conventions. I stayed away from game hunting with friends, which I did have an opportunity with Chris Pico and Manboy Cave, who I still haven't met in person yet, but we've talked quite a bit online. They actually went game hunting in the Chicago area, and I was going to go, but then some stuff came up, and I wasn't able to. And at the same time, I was kind of like, I really shouldn't, just for financial reasons. So most of the stuff that has shown up in the last couple of months have all been mostly releases from Limited Run, Love 'em or Hate 'em, and various other games that I've ordered through. I think one was through Castlemania Games for the Sega Genesis, which we'll see in a little bit, and a couple other little things along the way. So it's kind of drawn me out of that, and I've kind of been sticking to it. So it's been several months, or a couple months now, of playing Gundam and getting back into building. I'd really like to actually pick up another Gundam and build it. I actually took a trip to West Allis, Wisconsin last month. At some point, they had the Gundam World Tour, mobile tour going on, where they had like a full life-size or 6-foot tall Gundam wing from Endless Waltz. They had a trailer there where you could pick up different model kits. Unfortunately, I arrived on a Sunday, so most stuff was already sold out, and they only had a limited supply of things. But I got a cool little keychain for buying a figure, and they had a free model kit you could put together, which was kind of cool, of the original Gundam, the RX-78. And then they were teaching people how to play the Gundam card game, and giving you two free promo cards, which was my main goal on one of those promo cards. And I actually sat and met a really cool couple and their friends, and was teaching them how to play the game because only one of them really knew a little bit about it. We got free little like mini decks that we got to play with, and I had a blast. Spent about an hour and a half with them, kind of chatting and just kind of helping them learn the game a little bit, and they seemed to have some fun with it. So that was cool. It was a nice little highlight and got me away and travel a little bit and see something that normally only comes around about once a year. And they only go to certain cities and do that sort of thing. So that was kind of fun. Aside from that, I guess we can jump into that. So if you're curious, here I actually pulled this on my second pack of opening the Gundam card game. Here is actually the Gundam Aerial Rebuild from apparently this is like one of the most rarest cards in the set right now. And it's one of the gold cards. You can kind of see the foil on it. It's really neat. But yeah, my second pack I opened, I somehow got that card. And yeah, I was like, okay, I'm into this. So that was kind of fun. But okay, so we're going to jump into some of this stuff from Limited Run. Probably the one that most people are picking up these days is the Shinobi, the Art of Vengeance. Grabbed it on the PS5. Honestly, I should have gotten on the Xbox. I don't know why, but I figured for the trophies and everything, might as well. I'm hoping to get to this soon. I'm actually in the middle of, at the very final boss of Lunar 2 on the PlayStation 4. I've been playing that for the last several months on and off. Finally getting to the end of it, so this will probably be the next game I crack open. Looking forward to that. And I'm just kind of grabbing things at random here. There's no particular order. You can see some of the stuff here along with the Gundam boxes of stuff, of cards, basically. But on the same regards of cards, Limited Run has been doing this like Dreamcast merchandise stuff and kind of a celebration of Dreamcast. And they were selling various merchandise, but they finally are starting to trickle in. And I got the Shenmue card sleeves. I mean, there's just basic card sleeves, nothing fancy. I thought it was interesting, though, that this is the Japanese art, because normally the English ones, they have Shenmue in English down there, and they don't. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But that's in preparation for actually getting those cards. Along with that, I also picked up the Phantasy Star Online commemorative coin. I think this is the only coin that I'm actually going to get out of the series. You can kind of see there, it says Phantasy Star. I'm not going to force my camera to function or focus on that because it's going to be a pain to get it back. But I thought the coin was cool because I did spend a lot of time way back in the day and even afterwards playing Phantasy Star Online on the Dreamcast. Really good game. I enjoyed it at least. And then this one I had to pick it up. And the story behind this is Puyo Puyo Champions for the Switch. This is the only physical release that we got, but the thing is, in Japan, this is called Puyo Puyo Esports, which was the arcade-only release, and that they ported to Switch, which I found kind of interesting. And it used the same cabinet that I imported a couple years ago from Japan, the Sega Press 3. And that's what the game came from, was the alls.net system. So I was like, I gotta get that because I don't have it for the alls. And I don't really intend to get it because I was like, don't really need to, especially since the way I have it modified right now. So yeah, I thought that was cool. So there is Puyo Puyo Esports or Champions. Just basic Puyo Puyo with some fun twists to it. And this I picked up on a whim because it has kind of a better version of what I have. I have the Switch version of this, but this is the CQO Shooting Library Volume 2, which has probably one of my favorite, or some of my favorite CQO shooter games, such as like Gunbird 2, and Samurai Aces. So yeah, I was like, I have the Switch versions of this, but they play a little better on the PS4. So I was like, yeah, I kind of want to pick that up. It was during their liquidation sales, and I figured it would be harder to get later on, especially since shoot-em-ups or shmups tend to go up in price if they become more sought after. So that was my reason behind that. I got a whole nother stack here to move over. I also ended up grabbing Gradius Origins, and I got the Salamander cover, which I thought was cool. I'm not really huge on Gradius. I've played a lot of it in the past on the NES and in the arcade, but I figured, yeah, it's one of those little weird experiences, and again, it was for shoot-em-ups, so I had to grab it. And this is the game that I was talking about from Castlevania Games. This is P47-2 MD. And actually, I have the slipcover upside down for whatever reason. But yeah, actually, I'll just show it. So here's the Genesis box. I actually played this already. It was a very short game. It was kind of fun. This is by City Connection, which kind of hit and miss, but this game actually is pretty fun. So this comes with an original manual and a pretty embossed cartridge, which is really neat. I think there's, yeah, this is a different color cartridge too. So it is a translucent black or smoke black. You can kind of see through there, the cartridge there on the back side. And again, here's the label on it. But I wanted to pick that up because I don't really get Genesis games much anymore. And I thought it would look really neat. Of course, it came with a nice little slip cover with embossed lettering and everything, which will look nice. And it also came with a soundtrack. So I have not opened that yet. But it's like a mini CD type thing. So it came in this kind of interesting little fold, kind of a bifold type cover. And then it has all the tracks on the back side. Again, on the whim. Being a Street Fighter fan, I thought it was interesting because Nintendo started coming out with these amiibos, but they only released like 4 of them physically. And the rest of them came in these like cards. And of course, Juri is my main character I play in Street Fighter 6. So she's in here. And it's these real thick amiibo cards that you can use for your Switch. I kind of opened them, but you can see that, you know, here's Luke on the front, and then on the back side they just have the RFID for the amiibo on it. I just thought it was kind of neat, and they were on clearance for like, I think at the time they were $20. Now they're down to 15 or something like that. So I'm kind of wondering how much longer those are going to be sticking around, especially since they just came out with like a booster pack of 3 cards for like $6. And I haven't really seen that yet, but I think the only 3 characters are like Bison, Elena, and can't remember the other person. But yeah, just novel, interesting things. I'm not honestly too much into it, especially since I don't even have Street Fighter 6 on Switch. My preference for playing that I have on an Xbox or PS5 or even Steam. And this one I have to say is probably one that drives me nuts. This is Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 1 Limited Edition for the Nintendo Switch. Now, why did I get this? Other than the fact I've played through all 3 of the original trilogy of Neptunia, Rebirth 1, 2, and 3 on the Vita, I was never able to get the limited edition version for the Vita, simply because it was a very limited, very hard to get, and you can blame the bots or just dumb luck, but I wasn't able to secure it. I was there when it released, and it dropped, kept refreshing, tried to get it, could not get it, and it drove me nuts for years. So when East Asia Soft said PlayAsia was going to have it, I was like, you know what? It's the only Neptunia game I will get on the Switch, and it's the only limited edition that I'll get from that because it was the only limited edition for the series I was missing. So I snagged it, and this seems to come with basically the same, well, not the same. There was some extra stuff for the Vita version that is not in here. I think like the Vita had a special hard case, some stickers and stuff, but this also has the official soundtrack. It comes with an acrylic standee, sticker set, mini case, and an art book. I believe it's the same art book that was included with the Vita, maybe with a couple different art in it, but so that's the only reason I grabbed that. I don't even know if I'm going to open or play the game. I'll open it for sure to maybe rip the music and check out the art book, but I've already played through the game on the Vita. I really don't have any need to go back and replay the game, especially since it's an RPG and it could take another 40 hours of my life. One I really wanted to play, and I had this for the Japanese version because I didn't think we'd get it here in the US, and of course a couple months later they announced it for the US. That is the Macross Shooting Insight. This is a special edition from VGS. And the reason I wanted to get this, aside from Macross, but it also includes Macross Delta, which was on the Vita, and I do have a Vita version, but that's all in Japanese. This is in English. So it's fully translated, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different Macross games, Macross Plus, and some other ones. Delta is on here, and it's basically a compilation of all the Macross shoot 'em up games. So I was like, oh cool. So all of them are basically on one disc. It's for PS5. And being that it's a special edition from VGS, they had a special deal where for the same price as the standard version, you got this cool little art book, game guide thing, which has some art in it and some stuff about the game. Basically a giant manual. And then it also came with a giant, I don't know what the deal was with these acrylic standees, but people seem to like them. I'm not sure, but there's that. Say that for later. So this is an interesting thing. So Magic the Gathering, as I said, I collect some of the cards from time to time. This is one I had to pick up because it was game related. And that is the collaboration with Sonic the Hedgehog. This is the Friends and Foe Hollow version, or Rainbow Foil as it says there on the front. Only available through the Secret Lair store. There's also three other versions. So each or not version, but packs. Each pack came with 4 cards, and then you were given one special surprise card, and that was you could have like the Chaos Emeralds or the Master Emerald Temple was the other bonus card. I did not end up with the Chaos Emeralds. Those are supposedly the rarest ones to find. So I got the Master Emerald Temple. And this is just basic cards. Did I even open it? I did. Okay. So, I mean, it's kind of cool. But here's just an example. Here's Supersonic. You can kind of see the foiling on it, which I thought was really cool. These are just, I gotta put these in like little card sleeves and put them somewhere, but here's Knuckles. And this pack was sold in retail stores. If you have like a local card shop, some of them may still have them, but supposedly they've been selling out pretty fast. But they only carry the non-foil versions. So yeah, here's the Master Emerald Shrine, which was the bonus one that I ended up getting. Supposedly not the most one. I kind of find it interesting that it used more of a CGI version of Tails. Whereas the other ones look like all new art. And actually, they do say the artist in the bottom of the card. So this is one that Tracy Yardley did. Probably one of the more popular cards, Shadow, with the Radical Highway in the background from Sonic Adventure 2. Which I thought was kind of neat. But, yeah. So those are those cards that I ended up getting. Just something different. Secret Lair has been doing these interesting otherworld type collaborations lately. So that's the only, they did like one for Assassin's Creed and Spider-Man and other stuff. So that was the only one that's really been interesting to me. I have in the past bought some Hatsune Miku ones, which I thought were cool. Yeah, we're getting into the other stuff now. So the other big one I got was Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown version 2. And I got the dummy edition because it comes with a Saturn case inside of it with the game. You get the PS4 version and the soundtrack. So, and I like the music in Virtua Fighter 5. I'm a big fan of Virtua Fighter. I think I've talked about that in the past when I got Virtua Fighter 2 for the Xbox. Boy, it has been a couple months. But I do play this game online quite a bit. You can find me hanging around on Steam on it if I'm on the arcade, because I have it on that. And especially now that it's coming to Xbox and Switch. Pretty excited about that. And they have the PS4 version, which is neat. So super stoked to increase my Virtua Fighter game collection. And then this, oh man. So I'm a big fan of the Yakuza series, and Limited Run has been re-releasing the games, even though Sega themselves released 3, 4, and 5 in a collection for the PS4, and then they remastered them and all that stuff. And then Limited Run did a run of them on the Xbox, which you can't really get in retail. I passed on the PS5 version, I think. Might have been a 4. I don't remember. I'd have to look back. But since I already had all the games on PlayStation 4 to begin with, I felt getting them on the Xbox would be kind of fun. Plus, for a long time, they were on Game Pass. And today they just announced a price hike on Game Pass, which is a whole different matter I'm not going to get into. But I started replaying some of the Yakuza games on Game Pass because they were there. And 3 was the last one I left off on. And of course, they just announced at Tokyo Game Show the Yakuza 3 remaster, or Kiwami, will be coming next year with a whole new cast of character, voice actors, and additional scenes and stuff, which I'm kind of interested in seeing what they're going to change in it, especially since Yakuza 3 is so kind of fresh in my mind after playing it on Game Pass. So I'll be interested in seeing the difference in that. So that's what these versions are. In addition to that, I also ended up getting the Switch version for Kiwami. Why? I don't know. Because it's the only real physical one aside from Kiwami 2, which came out on Switch 2, but it's a game card. So this is all on one cartridge. But we also have, speaking of Yakuza 2 Kiwami on Xbox, Yakuza 3 Remastered, which I don't know what to think about the art. The original art on the PS3 I felt was more grittier. Many people will use the term a product of its time because of what was on the cover, and they ended up censoring it for the remastered version. I'll probably show a picture of that up here, but I don't know. I always felt that the Yakuza series was more mature, very much like the Mafia series, just, well, I mean, it's Japanese Mafia. But I don't understand why they would go to the trouble of quote-unquote censoring or changing the art on this. I do like the black and white look to it, and they added some more effects in the background, but yeah, I don't... See if you can spot the difference. I guess that's what it is for these days that they're doing that. I haven't taken a look at the other covers to really see if there's any big differences between the past PS3, PS4 versions versus these releases. And of course, we have Yakuza 4, Yakuza 5 Remastered, which this is technically the first Yakuza game that I jumped into way back on the PS3. It was Yakuza 5, and it didn't come with a physical edition. It was digital only at the time. And it wasn't until they started doing the remasters on the PS3, or yeah, was it the PS4, that they gave us the PS3 box for Yakuza 5. So you technically got it physically, sort of. So, yeah, weird things. I mean, it was super nice of Sega to say, hey, we understand Yakuza 5 on the PS3 was digital only. Here's a box to kind of go along with that, even though you don't have a disc per se, but you do on the PS4. So, yeah. And then lastly, Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. Probably one of the most heart-wrenching stories of the Yakuza series. I fondly remember shedding a tear quite a bit at the end of this, just for Kiryu's position and situation that he goes through, and what happens into the lead-in into the Like a Dragon arc with Ichiban, who becomes the new protagonist of the series, and Kiryu starts to kind of go on his retirement from being the main character, even though he has returned so far. Although if you've played the latest Like a Dragon games, you kind of know what's happening to him over the course of the years, which is also one of my more attachments to the series, because it does follow Kiryu through his 20s all the way up to, I think now he's in his 50s. So there's quite a timeline between the whole series of the Yakuza games to Like a Dragon. And I find that interesting that you're witnessing the aging of this character and the other characters, and how the world changes around them constantly. And it brings a lot of realism to that. even though there's a lot of wacky side stories everybody talks about, but the story is very grounded, I feel, in some senses, aside from the battling and all that stuff. But it kind of gives you a lot of that drama, which I enjoy, and that's why I like that series so much. And then the last game, this is a big one. So you probably saw this on my social media if you follow me on there. I have reached one of my goals, which was to get 450 physical games for the PlayStation Vita. And I told myself that I would stop after I get the 450th game. And I was kind of taking my time, or wanting to take my time, and trying to choose that perfect one. That would be the last game I would pick up. Because I said after that, it's getting harder to find Vita games. They're more expensive now. And I didn't feel there was too much out there to really get. Aside from, of course, there's a certain publisher that's kind of been teasing us for years about releasing Vita games that they keep saying is going to come out, and then it doesn't, and there's no news, and everybody's kind of left wondering, but yet the webpage is still up. It's a weird situation, and I don't know what the reason is behind it, other than the fact that at this point, I still consider having a full US retail release set of Vita games along with all the imports, some of the East Asia Soft collection. I think I have about a little more than half of those because I was never really intending on getting those, and some of the other limited releases as well. So for me, I was like, okay, now I'm down to just kind of picking out those ones that stand out the most to me that weren't visual novels, since there was a ton of those released in Japan, and other like art cutesy anime-esque type stuff. I wanted, instead of RPGs, give me the beat 'em ups. Where are the other shoot 'em ups? Other genres aside from visual novels. So that's the reason why I was kind of taking my time on that, because I was like, I just want to find that perfect one. But the decision was ultimately made for me, thanks to Mr. Mega Matt 21 himself. Found this, and recently a new game store opened up in Wisconsin, and shout outs to Captain Algebra, because I think he had a hand in this too. I can't be certain, but I'm going to blame him as well for this. Matt texted me and he's like, so I found another Vita game for you. I'm going to pick it up. So he did. And at this time I didn't know he was actually getting it. He just kind of sent me a picture. He said, what do you think? And I said, that's great. It's an RPG. It's not a visual novel. Cool. Well, then he shows up with it because he's like, it was super cheap. It was in Captain Algebra helped me get it. So I'm giving it to you. And that game is Extetra, etc. I guess is how it would probably be pronounced on the Vita. So this is my 450th Vita game. This is an RPG. I looked it up because on the backside you couldn't tell, and I don't read Japanese at all, so it's kind of goofy from the images here on the back. I mean, can you really tell that that's an RPG? I'm not sure what's going on there in that picture back there on the right or the left side, middle. But yeah, I was like, from the pictures on the back side of this does not look like an RPG per se, but apparently it is. So yeah, it actually comes with a manual too, which I was kind of surprised at. I was like, oh, look, a little mini pamphlet manual, which I think it's only a couple pages long to begin with. Yeah, it's basically 2 pages. Woo, yeah, it shows you how to play the game, and then the buttons on the back side. But something you don't see very often in Vita games. So, yeah, that is it. So, I've reached my goal. Likely, unless that particular publisher releases their Vita games at some point in time, it's been several years, hasn't been any word. That's it for my Vita quest, I guess. challenge, whatever you want to call it. But closing the chapter on that book with that game. So that is it. And that catches us up for the last 3 months, basically. I think the only game that I really want this quarter is probably Sonic Crossworlds, because I've been hearing a lot of good things about how it's actually better than Mario Kart. Go figure. But that's it. As always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.